Senator Kelly, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And General VanHerck and General Richardson, thank you for being here today. Yesterday I held a hearing in this committee's panel on emerging threats to focus on how our military can work with our partner nations to improve security conditions in our hemisphere that in turn impact the U.S. border and our national security. Throughout South and Central America, criminal elements, China and Russia, are seeking to destabilize the region for their own gain. This is a national security challenge, and we need to treat it as a national security challenge. With that context in mind, I would like to touch on NORTHCOM's first, NORTHCOM's mission at the southwest border. The National Guard plays a critical role in this mission, providing much-needed relief to overstretched Border Patrol agents and local law enforcement. I've been to the border many times, and I stay in close contact with local elected leaders and law enforcement. I've also delivered additional federal resources. And the Assistant Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and Hemispheric Affairs committed to me earlier this year that National Guard troops would be well-resourced during these missions. So, General VanHerck, in your view, is the National Guard's border mission properly resourced to significantly assist in addressing the crisis at the border?
Senator, first, I share your assessment of the national security imperative, a challenge for us with what's going on at the border. The National Guard forces that are working for us in a Title 10 status are not only resourced by DOD, but they're provided resources by DHS. And my assessment is, for the most part, they're resourced to where they need to be. They could have additional resources for observation, detection, and monitoring those kinds of things from DHS. I think long-term, this is not an enduring mission of the Department of Defense. We need to fully fund and resource DHS to do their mission. The DOD should be used in extremist times for the support on the border mission. I'd like to just make sure that our mission is understood. We're not there enforcing the laws that DHS can do. We're supporting them to free up capacity so they can do that mission. And we provide support, detection and monitoring, aviation support to help them, and also the intel analysis.
Well, until DHS is fully resourced to do this, let's make sure that the Guard and Reserve have the resources they need in the interim there. General, are you in regular communication with CBP, with Customs and Border Protection, and local law enforcement partners on this issue?
Me personally, yes, not daily or anything like that. I've been to the border multiple times. I was at the border last month as well and met with both the Customs and Border Patrol agents and discussed. We had 8 in the room as well. I visited in your state as well, in Nogales, and been to the border. So we do that. I have multiple liaisons from 40 government agencies that work in my headquarters, to include from DHS and the border.
Well, that's good to hear. We need to, this is a comprehensive and challenging problem, and we need to all have all agencies working together to try to deal with this crisis. General Richardson, in your posture statement, you mention the insecurity and instability that's been exacerbated by COVID-19. We know that transnational criminal organizations routinely exploit poverty, instability, and corruption to gain political and criminal power. This is bad for stability. It's bad for our partners who are trying to sustain democratic societies, and it's bad for our own interests. When we spoke earlier this week, you specifically mentioned that criminal organizations are using the instability brought about by the economic impacts of COVID-19 to create a wedge that Russia and China are taking advantage of. Can you elaborate on the relationship between Russia, China, and criminal organizations in the region, and how does the instability caused by criminal groups and opportunism of countries like China allow them to expand their reach?
So overall, Senator, I just look at the insecurity and instability, the cycle of vicious threats, this wedge that the TCOs can create. which allows our competitors, the PRC in Russia, to flourish and look like the heroes of the day, right? When they come in with their projects and their money or equipment and capability and things like that. And so, as we talked about as well, the Chinese money launderers that take the money from these TCOs, when these TCOs have all this cash, huge, $310 billion a year annual revenue, and move it back and turn it around into goods that they send back for the TCOs to be able to sell. And it's all cleaned money, if you will. And so we have to, this isn't just a DOD or a DHS. We also have to, I think, get after this money. And in terms of what our whole of government approach is to follow the money and then be able to crack down. But I know that it's very difficult. These are complex cases that Treasury and Justice have to deal with. But until I think we get after that specific problem, we can't interdict our way out of this. We're not going to be able to do that. We got to go after and follow the money.
Well, I want to thank you for the comprehensive answers from our phone call the other day that your staff sent over. I really appreciate that, and those were really helpful. I also want to make sure that you have the resources that you need to tackle this challenge. So I'm interested to see what the president's budget looks like for Southcom, Northcom as well. And since I'm over, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I have some additional questions for the record.
Thank you very much.